The time to start planning your career as a PhD student is right now. If you're listening to me right now, this is the time to start planning your career. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Dr. Gertrude Nontry, and on this channel, I give you tips on slaying grad school and navigating the career market after the fact. And in today's video, I want to talk about how to start career planning when you're in your PhD program. Most of the time, a lot of PhDs, I got caught in this trap, and this is why I know a lot of PhDs think that once they're done with school, getting a job at a university, that's a given, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but as I have walked through and many of you have attested to the fact, okay, it's not as automatic as you would think it is. Therefore, it is really important for you to start planning your career as early as you can. I would say that it's never too early to get started, but especially for my 4th year, 5th year, 6th year people, okay, who are in these PhD programs, especially if you're in the US, it's now is the time. Now, the first thing that I'm going to recommend to you as you career plan is really to think about what you want to do after school. Again, that sounds like cliche, like, oh yeah, I'm going to teach in academia. But again, it's not always as simple. So really research your career options. I've done a few videos on this channel where I talk about career options for those of us that are in the biological and biomedical sciences, right? And so if you're a history PhD, sociology PhD, some other PhD, you may want to really look at the market and see what's out there, right? And as you're looking at the market, I really want you to also talk to people in roles who have the same educational background as you. Where have some of these people gone? You may even want to talk to people in your graduate student affairs department, people, past students, right, who have gone through your school, to ask them, where are you now? What are you doing now? These are usually called informational interviews. Another great way to find people to just, learn about careers is on LinkedIn. I talk about LinkedIn a lot. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So find people that have the educational background that you have, and maybe are doing something other than academia, and ask them how they got into the role. This is the research phase of really planning your career, and it's going to be really important as you plan your career. The next thing you want to consider is what skills are required to get into the role. Now, of course, you're going to learn some of this when you do the informational interviews, when you search online, right? But another thing you can do to really find the skills that are required is to read job descriptions. Now, I know that people only read job descriptions when they're looking for jobs, and even then, people sometimes don't read the full job description. Make sure you are reading job descriptions. Even if you don't plan to apply for the job, read the job description. So for instance, there was a time in my life where I wanted to become a medical science liaison. And this was before I found out that these individuals travel quite a bit, and it just didn't fit my own lifestyle, even though it was such a great career path, right? But I would read these job descriptions to find out what they required, what kind of therapeutic area they needed me to cover. I would read these job descriptions to learn the skills that were involved or that were required to land these roles. Now, it's true that most of the time you don't have every single skill that's on that list, but there are certain basic skills that you're going to be required to have. For instance, if you want to transition into scientific writing like I have, there are certain skills that people expect that you have, all right? So read these job descriptions with the eye, okay, of learning what skills are required so that you can develop those skills. How do you develop those skills? There's so many platforms out there these days. We have LinkedIn Learning, there are platforms like Udemy, Coursera. You can find these types of learning platforms and learn some of these skills. Within your school, okay, you may also find that some of these are even offered as courses or certificates. I remember when I was a postdoc at UC San Diego, one of the things they offered was like a mini MBA, and there were all these skills, these business skills that you would learn in there. I learned later on that UCSD actually had a scientific writing course that you could take. I never took that course before I came into scientific writing, but Perhaps maybe when I started as a postdoc, I could have taken that course. Okay, so also look within your institution to find what resources are available to you. And then you want to tailor your resume accordingly. Okay, so please do not do this. If you watch this channel and you're subscribed, and if you're not subscribed, why aren't you subscribed? Go ahead and subscribe. And if you're subscribed, please, I don't want you to do this. Don't apply for multiple jobs with the same resume. Big no. It doesn't matter that you have a PhD. People don't care about that, okay? I'm sorry, but people don't really care about all your education. What they care about a lot in the job market is that you have the skills they require. So then you want to tailor your resume according to what is being asked of you in the job descriptions. So what I recently learned and I'm beginning to do is to keep what's known as a living resume. As you build upon your skills, and this could be like a Google document, as you build on your skills, as you learn different things, add those to your resume. Usually resumes are very different from academic CVs. I've done a video you can check out where I talk about the difference between an academic CV and an industry resume. They're two different documents. You don't want to confuse the two, right? So you want to update your resume accordingly and make sure it is very much aligned. And listen, this is coming from somebody that has friends in the HR industry, and they say, yes, G, tell your people this, okay? Make sure that your resumes are aligned as much as possible to job descriptions, because this will increase your chances by very much when it comes to actually landing the role.